Welcome to Colorful Journeys of Success. Clare Mullin, producer, host, and author of Color Wheeling for Success, explores with her guests the stages of success in their lives. This show highlights leaders, teachers, coaches, mentors, and even parents who are role models who help change our world. How have you succeeded, and who was your teacher and inspiration? Now, who are the people you teach and inspire? Listen to and watch our fascinating guests as they share colorful stories of success and how they help inspire. Now, here's Clare, the color wheeling lady and our host.
Welcome to Colorful Journey of Success. I'm so glad that you joined us. My name is Clare Mullin. I'm the producer and host of Colorful Journey of Success. This is a show where we have guests come on and they share their success story and who they're helping succeed. But today is really unique, very, very unique. Hand analysis. I never really thought about that. So when you wash your hands, do you ever look at your hands? Fascinating. Hand analysis. This has been Diane Dumont, and she is a certified hand analyst, pardon me. All right, so anyway, Dumont, right?
Correct.
And you are a certified hand analysis.
Yes.
Analyzer. What?
Analyst.
Analyst, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, this is going to be fun.
Great.
I think it's going to be fun. You
I'm
might
sure.
find something in my hand, though, that's not going to be fun.
No, I'm sure I won't.
All right.
I thought we were just interviewing, not me reading you, so
All right.
you'll be safe.
Well, okay. Tell us about your background.
So I, as everybody will be able to hear, have an English accent. I emigrated to America in the 80s, and I had first come over and stayed with some friends a couple of years earlier and found California very much to my taste buds. So I had a thoroughly lovely time. Went back to England, sold my house, got back on a plane and came back.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Nice to have you. And you are here, and I guess you're here to stay.
I am indeed.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so glad that you are here to stay.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit more about you, your background. How did you connect with this idea of hand analyst?
I've always been interested in things that allow you personal growth, personal development. I have many years of experience in other modalities, but I came into hand analysis because Richard Unger, who designed the system, lives in Marin, and he was doing one of his evening get-togethers, and he read for me, and in 5 minutes I felt like I was naked, and he knew more about me than my mother does. So at the end of the evening I said, I don't care how much it costs me or how long it's going to take. Whatever you did, I need to know how you did it and how I can do that.
Fascinating.
So it was
fascinating.
an
And so
immediate
how long
sell.
did it take you to learn?
You can garner some understanding of what you're doing in a weekend, and then in order to get certified, you would have to go to a year-long, which is 1 weekend a month, 3-day weekend a month for a year. And then you pass or fail your certificate at the end of that, and then the training continues ad infinitum, because every pair of hands is a different experience. You see different things. We're all in touch with one another. You know, have you seen this? This is an amazing thing. I just saw this. What does that mean? You know, what would you read it as? So we all interact with one another and feed off each other.
Well, is one hand different than the other?
Left is personal and right is out in the world. And it doesn't matter whether you're left or right-handed. It's always that way around. So business, what you're like at home.
And how much do hands change?
So the fingerprints develop in the womb at 4 months. So when the baby is born, it has its life purpose and its life lesson established in its fingerprints, and then the rest of it changes at will. So you color, shape, texture, feel, clammy, dry, whatever. So all of that changes. The fingerprints never change. If you damage them in any way, they actually grow back through. So I know I have some scars on my fingertips for doing stupid things.
No, really.
And they come back through.
Okay.
So you can see there where I burned the top of one, and the lines just come back through the the scars.
Interesting. Let me see your hands. Now, tell me about your hand.
Oh. So my general layout, I'll tell you my communication style.
All right.
Which I have two of the same type of heart lines, so I'm consistent in my communication style. So I generally want to give to other people. I want to over talk. I want to over give. And part of my path about learning about myself is to learn how not to volunteer continually again and again. So the happiness in my life.
That's the overgive.
That's the overgive. It's like everything in mediation, everything in balance.
Mediation.
Mediated, yeah.
Okay.
So I've given up my boards. I am no longer on 4 boards in the Bay Area. I now...
I assume you're talking about like board of directors.
Yeah. It's like, I'm done. No more. Don't ask me to do that.
All right.
The answer is no, don't have time.
All right. So let me see your left hand versus your right hand. So how do they differ?
In my left, well, let's put it this way. When I first started hand analysis, my hands were like this.
What do you mean they were like?
Spread out like this.
All right.
And now I have a really hard time. That makes my hands ache. Now my hands are very much more balanced and calm. So they're very much easier. I find it easier to be in the world instead of in your face all the time.
Let me think about that.
Okay.
And so I guess if I spread my fingers, does that make a difference?
Well, it depends on what you're comfortable with.
Okay.
So how, if you just shake your hands out like that and put your hands up, then I could tell more about you.
Okay.
So you put me in this position. So your pinky here is separate. It doesn't like stand up in a nice row, so it drops off. So people with this have a tendency to isolate and separate when things get emotionally complicated.
Oh, interesting.
So it's helped by the ring. So we could just turn that around a bit,
turn around.
And you'll be more aware of it now, and less tendency to run away when.
Now I've seen a lot of people with their thumbs that will turn down
like this.
Yes.
So this is a tendency to bend over backwards for other people.
I see.
Along with my heart lines, that makes me doubly giving. So,
I see. Okay.
So it's a good thing to look at if you're looking for somebody to help you with something. But big thumbs like this means that you are able to get things under your thumb. We all have. There's bunches of colloquial statements. Yeah. So the more ability you have to get your thumb across your hand, it's like the more things you can get underneath your thumb. So you have more empowerment. More empowerment. Yes.
All right. Hey, how's that?
It's lovely.
All right. Well, let's get a little technical.
Okay.
Okay. So, where did this all start?
So
some background.
The system that I use was designed by Richard Unger. He's in Marin. He runs the Institute for Hand Analysis, IIHA, and he has been studying for more than 40 years with the medical textbooks. There are thousands of medical textbooks about handprints and hand analysis.
How interesting.
Because originally we developed a system, or the medical society developed a system where you could track genetics through handprints and through fingerprints specifically, how many triradii there are in your hands, which are the little triangle-y bits that support your fingerprints. And you can tell what a genetic line is going to look like by the study of hands through the generations.
Now, can you do your hands change, like if you're trying to accomplish a certain particular project?
Your hands sometimes change overnight. And I could get up in the morning and look at my hands and go, are there any big surprises for me today?
No kidding.
But
really?
mostly it takes a large event in your life to make a drastic difference.
Like a marriage or a divorce?
Or a trauma.
Trauma.
Would make you like either suck in your thumbs because now all of a sudden you don't want to be in charge, or you've married somebody that was inappropriate for you and now you don't have anywhere to use your big thumbs.
Oh.
So it's like, how are you going to adapt? How are you going to carry yourself? How willing are you to?
Do fingers grow?
No.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean,
they like the ring size and.
Well, you get fat, obviously. I mean, larger.
Plump.
Pleasantly plump.
Well, I know I'm just giggling and laughing, and I'm
Good.
not. I don't mean to. But this is
totally fun.
This is a very interesting and pleasurable conversation.
It's very sweet.
So, and you, how many systems are there?
Oh gosh, the systems that you use in business currently, there's many, but I use Myers-Briggs as well. It's something that's commonly in use in HR departments in large companies in the Valley. I also use the Enneagram, which is a Sufi-based personality typing program. And the three things that I use interact with one another very comfortably. A couple of years back, I was reading for the board of the Bridge Bank downtown, and they had already had the girlie come in from Myers-Briggs and read for them. And one of the board of director managers was saying, "Oh, I'm really happy you just validated everything that she told me last week. You're telling me exactly the same thing," which is really nice to hear.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That would be. So now your children, you said you have 2 children.
I do.
And do you read their hands periodically?
I did when I was learning more. Now I like to leave them alone to grow by themselves because, I've given them the information that they need, and now it's like when you read for somebody, and it's like, this is the information. It's a level of acceptance about who and what you are, and then it's up to you to take it and run with it and develop your own personalities.
I see. And let's see, how about misconceptions? I was Googling this information and I found it fascinating, and then I saw one particular site that was talking about misconceptions. What do you think?
Well, a lot of people are terrified. I've had many men sit down with me and go, "Please don't tell me I'm going to die." And I was like, that's not what hand analysis is about. Hand analysis is about accepting who and what you are on a personal level. It's not about fortune telling. It's not about Gypsy Rose Lee. It's not about tall, dark strangers. If you want one, go out and get your own.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with me. So.
Okay. Now, what about profession? If you're thinking in terms of changing professions, is this a good step?
It's incredibly helpful because I can see from your fingerprints and from your hands what you would be happiest doing, and what would make you truly miserable. And I find it very interesting that, especially in human resources in this country, we tend to push people into square holes. Wouldn't it be nice if you could advertise a job and saying, "I want this type of person who would be happy doing this work," instead of getting somebody that hates what they do. You're going to invest $10,000 in interviewing them, employing them, setting them down, and in 6 months' time, they're going to walk away because they didn't understand what you were saying about the job, or you didn't understand what they really wanted.
And so, if you're going to hire a person, it's good to have their hands.
Works very well.
Analyzed?
Yes, it is.
To see if they match the concept, the job, the position that you had in mind.
Yes.
What your needs are.
It's also really good for team building when you're looking for new team members, whether or not the person that you're hoping to hire into that position would actually fit with the established team, or whether it's going to cause a lot of insecurity.
Ah, I see. All right. Well, when you mentioned something about trauma.
Yes.
Elaborate a little bit on that.
Obviously, one of my personal friends recently had an unfortunate tie-in with a pipe bending piece of equipment and managed to chop the top of his Jupiter finger off, and he calls me up after it's mended and not bleeding anymore and says, "Come over and tell me what I'm missing now." And I said, "Well," and it just so happened that the way I was reading for him, the things that he was missing were the things he wasn't doing.
So, but I know that it's very important to be kind of like situated in a job or a position or in a relationship that where you're going to have so there's a life to it. It's going to be able to grow into some happiness
Yes.
for everyone.
Absolutely.
And so that would be, it seems that would be an appropriate time to have your hand analyzed.
It is. I like personally doing children. I like it when you catch them when they're still like under teenageness, and then you can watch them grow. I did a long survey and study on children in a camp, and I had them for probably about 10 years and watched them grow into their hands. As your hands get bigger, as you're from your childhood, they get bigger, but they still have the same skill sets in them. So it's nice to be able to guide them and say, "Oh, you're really good at that, and here I'm going to give you a job in the group in order to do that."
Well, can you actually see if a person is going to be talented, such as playing the piano or the Olympics stars, or is there anything in the hand that you can read in?
There's certainly there's certain gift markers in the hand, which are talents that you are required to use. Certainly, you can say if somebody's going to be musical, or somebody's needs a lot of information, a lot of input. Music being one of those things that gives you a lot of information, and there's certain parts of the hand which indicate an awareness of the rhythms of life and how things flow, which also is very useful when you're a musician.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, what about a television hostess?
Well, I think we need to read your hands. Probably not now, but we need to make some time for that.
Okay. Well, tell you the truth, I love what I'm doing. I love
there you go.
The people that I interview are so interesting, and they always have stories. It's like taking a new class every time, and I meet so many people.
That must be great. Yeah.
So it's fascinating. I can't imagine someone not loving this job.
Some people have the talent for it, and some people obviously don't. Wouldn't be my cup of tea.
Oh, all right. Well, so where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
I would like to see hand analysis in every company in America. I would like to see it as part of the foundational skill sets that are required. A hand reader in Google, or one in each building, whatever. And
well, Apple is with their new facility.
That would
brand
be great.
New facility.
Absolutely great. And I know, back in the 90s, it used to be far more common to find people that were, a massage therapist with you, and somebody that would be there and available for you to talk to at any given time. But it seems like that we're more interested in these days in productivity and flow through. So maybe we'll get back into more awareness of our employees' needs. Yes.
Acceptance. And I'm kind of curious also if there's lines in your hands, there's lines in leaves and trees.
Oh, interesting. Never thought about it.
Well, it just so happened I was looking over here at the tree behind you, and
veins.
Have you ever looked at the veins in a leaf?
Yeah, frequently. I used to draw a lot. I went to art school, so obviously I've drawn a lot of leaves in my time, but never thought about reading hand analysis into it. That would be. They're very symmetrical, usually not as the hands are, which are very different.
I see. All right. What else do you have that you think is the most important fact that everyone listening should know about hand analysis?
Well, I think that if I had all the money in the world, I would give all my girlfriends and everyone else a year long, because I learned more about myself during that year than 40 years of therapy would have brought me anywhere close to.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
More things than you could ever imagine.
So maybe I'll take that up.
Be a good idea.
Be interesting. It is fascinating, though. I'm always kind of curious about what happens with people and how you can read them in a sense, but I wasn't thinking about hands, but it sounds like it's very fascinating. What does it take to be a certified? Repeat that. I know you mentioned it before, but
so
to be a certified?
Takes a long weekend course and then at least 1 year long, which is 1 weekend a month for a year. And all the practice that goes in between that. So the book is yay big and gets bigger. You know, my bookshelf is like this at the moment. So,
and so, but that's that particular system. Now, other systems, to be certified with other systems?
I'm sure there must be, but nothing that I've ever had.
You're not familiar with those?
No.
Oh, right. All right. So, do you think that maybe there's another system that you'd like to experiment with?
Oh, always. I mean, I really love pulling the Enneagram and the hand analysis in together, and it gives you a much wider insight into how people behave under stress or under good circumstances, you know, what you can expect them to do and how they react. Okay.
Explain to our audience, what is an Enneagram?
The Enneagram is a Sufi-based personality typing system. It's a wheel, 1 through 9, and each person on the planet fits into one of those Enneagram types. And then there's a very close correlation between what your personality type would be given what your communication style would be from the hand and how it would react as your personality style in the Enneagram too.
All right, so would it change at all?
Nope.
That's just it.
You just get better at what you're doing.
I see. Okay.
So you know, especially on the Enneagram, there's a novice path. There's what we do, most of us do average path, and then if you get really skilled, the master path on, you know, and that works the same way. If you learn who you are through your hands, you get better at recognizing the things that trip you up. So you don't fall into the same hole again and again. You can just say, oh, she told me about that. I don't need to worry about it. I just need to be aware of what's pulling my chain. Whose buttons am I pushing, or who's pushing which buttons in me?
Well, you certainly have an interesting personality to begin with.
That's sweet.
And a very sweet. I'm glad that we met.
Yeah.
And we certainly did not meet for this purpose, but I'm glad that we did.
Okay.
Yes. And I think that if the audience is interested in having the analysis done, they could certainly connect with you through me.
Great.
Yes, they would have to contact my email. So
or my website.
Yes, very good. Well, let's see. Religiously speaking, is there anything, spiritually speaking, anything having to do with the hands?
There's certainly indications in the hands and in parts of the hands where you would see signs for somebody being a spiritual teacher having to do that. There are gift markings in parts of the hands which stipulate that that's what you have to do for a living, and to be passionately attached to that.
So it'd be interesting if a nun or a priest or a minister, they would have certain markings in their hands, maybe. Maybe. Versus.
Or maybe, you know, once, it seems to me that once you're actually doing your gift, you don't need the reminder in your hand so much. So if you're actually following, if you have a gift marking in your hand and you're not doing it, it's there as a reminder that you have that talent and that you're required to use it.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was there, just, but it's there as a sign.
Yes.
An indicator.
Get your stuff together.
So if I see a marking in my hand, I think, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, so then I'll go and do that. And then it goes away?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yes, interesting. Isn't this fascinating? Who would know? Who would know?
Well, the people that train me, yeah.
Yes.
who haven't done jury duty for a while. Yeah, it's an
Yes,
interesting
yes.
way of escaping doing jury duty.
Well, one last question that I have for you is, what would you like to give, what would you like to say to the audience? Oh, wow, a word of wisdom. Oh, wow.
So change is good.
Change
is good. We all go through change. Acceptance of that change makes it so much easier. When you're trying to facilitate change in your own lives, hand analysis is a great way to do it.
I see. Okay. Well, I want to say thank you so much. This has been fascinating.
Thank you.
Absolutely fascinating.
Thanks.
I will be careful now when I wash my hands. Be very careful. And I'll be looking around, actually, looking at my hands saying, this is going to be fascinating. You changed my life.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll see what happens.
We will indeed.
Yes, you check back with me in 10 years.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
So I would be happy to refer people to you if they have an idea, if they would like to be interviewed on Colorful Journey of Success. I would love to talk with them too. They might have, maybe we'll have somebody else sit here and you can
read for them.
Read for both the two of us. Get a whole bunch of people around the table.
Sounds fun.
It has been a pleasure having you join us. Colorful Journey of Success. People who have success stories. They're helping other people succeed. Are you one of them? Would you like to come and tell your story? How you succeeded yourself and who you are helping succeed now? Let me know. I'm Clare Mullin. I'm the producer and the host of Colorful Journey of Success. We want to hear about the journeys. That's what we want. So have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Dee. Thank you to the studio and the crew. They've done a fantastic job. So bye for now. Bye.